Greetings one, greetings all. Behold the screensaver. Yes, this is not digital. It is not AI. It's an actual object held in front of the screen. Excuse me. The object of the screen-saving object is to save my sanity while I reach around and click a few buttons and move the mouse a little bit and check my monitor to make sure that I am indeed going live here on Facebook. Because it is a Wednesday. It is 7 p.m. And that, of course, is the entire object of this little thing that we call Tent Talks Tunes. Hey guys, I'm here. Boy, this camera is at a weird angle. I don't even know what I'm looking at here. Can you guys actually see me? I think I better move this around a little bit. Or maybe just leave it as is. Who cares? If it works, it works. Let's get back on the monitor here and expand the photo and see who's on board. Brian Russell is here saying, good evening, fellow North Carolinian. That's right, North Carolina. This is the place. I do like it here. I will raise a jug of hickory tap to living in North Carolina. Woo! Mr. James Poga says, Tent Talks Engelbert Humperdinck, not Sir Oliver Humperdinck. You know, I could talk about either or both at some length, no doubt. I'll just give you a really short, brief capsule synopsis as to my opinion of both. Engelbert Humperdinck is definitely guilty of not being Tom Jones. And Sir Oliver Humperdinck, besides being one of the greatest wrestling managers who ever lived, could have been one of the best wrestling color commentators who ever lived. Little known fact, or maybe some of you Floridians do know, that Sir Oliver Humperdinck in the year 1987, towards the very end of Championship Wrestling from Florida's run on television, was pressed into service as a color commentator. And he did a damn good job of it. He was really good on the mic, you know, just straight play-by-play commentary with no character, no buffoonery, just as an honest-to-God color commentator doing professional wrestling. Sir Oliver Humperdinck was fantastic. And it really makes you wonder, what if? What if? What if? Mike Lesser letting us know that Vancouver, BC is in the house. Mike has, excuse me, watched his fair share of Championship Wrestling from Florida. That is a fact. What's Brian Russell saying here? That Engelbert is not Tom Jones. However, Tom Jones is not Wayne Newton. Well, you know, I think that's probably for the better. I don't think any jury would convict anybody of saying Tom Jones over Wayne Newton on either a good, bad, or indifferent day. And 3 or 4 times on Sunday. Excuse me. Alan Versapellis is in the house. Per from Sweden. Hello, Per. Oh, yes. Mike Lesser has chimed in with his comment that Gordon Soley rules. It's true, Gordon Soley, the dean of professional wrestling commentators. But I'll tell you, Sir Oliver Humperdinck, if Gordon Soley was the dean, Humperdinck might have been the principal if he had ever gotten the chance to strut his stuff. Unfortunately, he was there in the dying days of Championship Wrestling from Florida, and the whole promotion folded shortly after he began his stint as a color commentator. And I said it before, I'll say it again, a darn shame. Bob Eaton's tuned in from my old home stomping grounds of Western Connecticut. Hello, Bob. Good to see everybody. I will drink to you and your health. I was indeed actually in the Danbury area this past weekend because we had the Danbury Record and CD Expo, which was a fine, fun time over at VFW Hall number 149 on Byron Street. A bunch of people came out. We had a room full of happy dealers, a room full of happy shoppers, and 3 tables full of happy me, getting to see my old pals, my old peeps, getting to rep North Carolina at my old stomping grounds. Just generally good fun. And I want to thank everybody who came out. and made the most recent Danbury Record and CD Expo a success. Keep your eyes, ears, and other receptors open for the next date to be announced for the next Danbury Record and CD Expo, because it's coming up sometime around October, November, kids, and you don't want to miss it. Gary Forney is tuned in from Iowa. Hello, Gary. We're talking about TPOS recording artist Gary Forney. I've done a little bit of teasing and talking about a new upcoming release by Gary Forney, specifically by his rock band Pumpkin. It's going to be coming out on cassette, and what we have right here is the first printed cassette insert for the brand new Pumpkin album. This is a long-lost full-length studio session by Pumpkin. And I am darned happy to have this out on TPOS. This is TPOS number 274. And it will be out sooner than you might think humanly possible. TPOS number 275 is a Gary Forney solo release. I'm going to reach over and grab the master disc for it. This is called Return of the King. And this is Gary Forney using the latest, most modern technology in his songwriting process. And any of you who know the story and the backstory of Gary Forney will be able to appreciate exactly where he's coming from this release. So Return of the King and the long-lost Pumpkin studio album will be out soon on TPOS. You'll find it on all the usual outlets, eBay, Discogs, and Bandcamp. Yes, I am the digital type of guy. I really have spent my entire life wrestling and resisting digitalis in one form or another, but I've come to realize it's a losing battle. Digital ain't going away. Digital is the way of today. All the millennials and Gen A-minusers and whatever, Gen Zeros, I can't even keep track of all the generations. They love their digital. They need their digital. They're going to have their digital. So why shouldn't I give them some digital? So you will be able to go on the Bandcamp and get the new Gary Forney album and the new Pumpkin studio album when I have them completely finished. And you, of course, will hear all about it because you're on social media at least as much as I am. Talking about other new releases on TPOS. On physical media, hey, Kyle has just tuned in and he says, hey, looking forward to the Gigi book. Well, guess what? Here it is. This is one of the many tasks that I was multitasking when I drove up to Connecticut last weekend. One of them involved driving to Southbury Printing in Southbury, Connecticut, my printer of choice, where they had 8 boxes filled with finished G.G. Allin books. My Misadventures with G.G. Allin by his roadie, videographer, merchman, and hangout buddy, Len Colby. Here it is. That's the front. Here's the back. Check it out. It's got a UPC code. It's got an ISBN number. We were not playing golf with this one. This is a really good book. It's got pages. First edition of 500 copies, each one of which is numbered. I don't want to crack the binding on this, but that's you can see the number there on the inside front page is a number between 1 and 500, applied lovingly by me with a rubber stamp. And this is going to go live next Tuesday, or if you speak the Queen's English, Tuesday. That's right. Tuesday, the 27th. This will be offered for sale on eBay. And wouldn't you know it, I was just talking about how your arms are too short to box with God. So don't even try it. Kindle. Yes, there will be an Amazon Kindle version of My Misadventures with G.G. Allin. There will also be an Amazon print-on-demand softcover version of it. Maybe hardcover. I haven't worked my way around that particular technological minefield yet, but Getting the ebook put together was fairly simple, So, next step is the print on demand, soft cover, and maybe hardcover. I really don't know if there's any demand for a hardcover or not. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, this book has been a long time in the making. I've put more just sheer hours and manpower into this book than any other TPOS product except for one. There's only one other TPOS release that took up more hours of my life to put together and get right than the G.G. Allin book. And if anybody wants to know what that was, just ask. I'll tell you. If you don't want to know, I won't tell you. My feelings can't be hurt. I'm bulletproof, baby. Bulletproof. And fueled by lots and lots of clean, fresh Walter. Well, it's kind of weird to see basically an empty bulletin board. There's, for the first time in quite a while, there's not a whole lot happening in the immediate future, except for a gala event coming up September 20th and 21st. Wait, hold on. Got to reach over to the calendar while I stick the forehead into the lens of my camera and grab an honest-to-job paper calendar, speaking of physical media. Hope you guys liked my forehead. It's freshly washed. Let's get the dates of this really incredible event right now. September 19th and 20th. That's a Friday and a Saturday. September 19th and September 20th. The Rule Breakers Ball at the Ground Zero in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I was watching Jeff Clayton as he was doing his web stream Break On Through, which he does every single Tuesday from 7 o'clock p.m. until whenever he's done talking. He always addresses some really interesting and cool topics. We're both very much alike. We're two complete music geeks. We both love our media. We love our history. And so if you like what I do, you might like what he does. We have different points of view on a few things, but as they say in Georgia, vive la différence. Break On Through is always entertaining. And right there, Jeff Clayton pointing his meaty forefinger at you, telling you to break on through. Anyway, he was on last night, and he went through the entire roster of bands that we've got playing at the Rule Breakers Ball, September 19th and 20th. And I'm going to try to remember them all. He ran through the whole list, and I was darned impressed, because there is not even 1 second of filler that's going to be heard over those 2 nights of rock and roll mayhem. Appearing are, just as I remember them, Wrath of Typhon from York, Pennsylvania, Future Hate from Mobile, Alabama, Taped Fist making their return to the stage from Crap County, Georgia and/or North Carolina, Rancid Vat from many parts unknown, of course the almighty Anti-Scene. There's more. I'll remember them. Give me a second. There's at least 4 more, maybe even 5. Zach Hembray's new band, who we just played with, and they were really good. We shared the stage with them in Piedmont, South Carolina. What are they? Is it the Appalachian Death Cult? Is it... I'm drawing a blank. But if you know Zach Hembray, you know that his bands always rock. Even if I can't remember the name of the latest one, I'm sorry. Oh, let's see, who else is playing? Did I mention Anti-Scene already? Well, I should have if I didn't. And several others. Rather than sit here and hem and haw for the next 9 minutes, I'll just tell you. I named a big fistful of great bands that are playing 19th and 20th of September at the Ground Zero in Spartanburg. And you'll be hearing much more about it as the day draws near. As the day draws near. I got distracted by a question from Scott LaRock, who says, hey, what was the most labor-intensive TPOS release? Scott, I'm glad you asked. Because if you hadn't asked, nobody would have asked. The most labor-intensive TPOS release ever. Oh, wow, Scott LaRock's got a sharp eye. Who knew that this guy was lurking around? I don't think he was on camera, but here he is. The one, the only, Mr. Klingon himself, the cat of the hour, the cat with the power, too sweet to be sour, the one-eared wonder, the sesquifang-faced fellow, Harry the cat. And for some reason, he's not looking at the camera right now, and he's just sort of perched himself on here, so you guys have to look at the back of his head until he feels like turning around and making his beautiful yellow eyes known to everybody. Oh, here he goes. There's our boy. There's Harry. Say hi. Hi. There he is. With those blazing yellow eyes and that crumpled ear and the one single fang sticking out of his mouth. Boy, is he something. So, I mean, you could say that the upcoming Harry the Cat CD was the most labor-intensive TPOS release ever, because this guy takes a lot of care. I'm either feeding him 19 times a day, or scooping out his litter box 24 times a day, or playing Kill the Shoestring, or brushing him, or fending off his attacks on my ankles. He just might be the most labor-intensive TPOS artist I've ever signed. But the true fact of the matter is the most labor-intensive TPOS release ever released. That's kind of a redundant sentence. That sentence is worthy of Ed Wood himself. So I'll say it again. The most labor-intensive TPOS release ever released on my release schedule was the release entitled August by my solo project, BB Gun. That's the stuff that I write and record when I'm feeling a little bit less kick-ass rock and roll, and maybe a little more introspective, maybe a little more middle of the night. And I have 2 albums out by BB Gun, and the second one, man, oh man. Talk about making a toothpick out of a mighty oak. And I don't mean to say that I created a small diminutive work. I mean to say that I whittled that thing and sculpted it and shaped it and honed it and sharpened it out of a massive material until it was perfect. And in my opinion, to this day, it stands as my solo recording masterpiece. It's the album that I am the most proud of, the one that I am the happiest with, and the one that just took the longest to get right. It took forever. And maybe after I sign off, I'll post a link to the Bandcamp page for August by BB Gun. Even if you don't buy it, maybe you'll listen to it or listen to a couple of songs on it. It was a real labor of love. And I poured everything I had into it. So, yeah, I'll share a link after I sign off. Unless we have anybody there who's super duper internet savvy and wants to go on to Bandcamp and find August by BB Gun and post the link. If you do, I will be eternally grateful, and I will hoist my jug of Danbury Tap for your efforts. If not, I'll do it myself. All right, gang. So, how about some Tent Talks tunes? How about, as promised, here it is. The Thrift Shop in a Box. Mayhap even a yard sale in a box. Now, long-time viewers of Tent Talks tunes have seen us do this on occasion. I got a couple of pals out there who are not afraid to roll their sleeves up, to spit in their palms, hot tooey, to grit their teeth in abject pain, and go to the thrift shops and dig, and go to the yard sales and pick and dig and sort and sift. They'll do it. They will do it. I'll do it too. But these guys, knowing my proclivity for odd and bizarre items found at yard sales, thrift shops, flea markets, and whatnot, they have taken it upon themselves to occasionally box these things up and send them to me with the proviso that I unbox them live on Tent Talks Tunes. And one of these people in question is a guy named Dennis Highland. Dennis is not only the CEO of Jackhammer Music, based in Japan, but with an American branch that he oversees. Not only is he the guitar player for the aforementioned Future Hate of Mobile, Alabama, he's a guy with good taste. Yes. And so he put together this box and mailed it to me. I want everyone to see this is not a fake, all right? This is not Geraldo Rivera with Al Capone's vaults. This is a fully sealed box. It is completely unopened, intact. You can see the front, see the back. This is a sealed box. I don't know what's in this box. I have less of a clue than you do as to what's inside this box. So we're going to take the 5 Mile box opener and its trusty sharp blade, and we're going to unseal this mofo, and we're all going to embark on a voyage of discovery together as we remove the contents of this mysterious, enigmatic box from somewhere in Mobile, Alabama. Chris Michael has just posted a link to something about Brad Pitt box, something or other. Brad Pitt's okay, but I'm much cooler than Brad Pitt. Just saying. There's the instructions, open this end. Okay, so right off the bat, we got to make sure that the 5 Mile box cutter sinks its fang into the right end of the box. Here we go. The seal is almost completely broken. The seal is almost completely broken. The seal is completely broken. What do you think, guys? Shall we see what lurks within? Let's. Okay, so we open up the flaps, and we find right on top a piece of cardboard. I'm assuming that's not like some kind of rare ancient Egyptian piece of cardboard, some valuable antique I just threw aside casually. Got some more cardboard. Doesn't look like it's from ancient Greece or Rome, so I will fling it to the side. I will do the same with this other. This is not a papyrus scroll. It's not a cardboard scroll. Nope, just some cardboard. It's not from Pompeii. All right. This is going to be fairly simple because we open this up and we see, y'all know what that is. You know what that is. That is good old-fashioned vinyl. Sealed, and I don't know what it is. So we're going to find some music in here, and we're going to see what kind of music this is. And knowing old Dennis Highland, this is at bare minimum going to be interesting. All right. First, off the top, now here, okay. First record on top of the stack. Right away, we got a winner. And I've never heard this one, but this is Millie Jackson. If y'all don't know Millie Jackson, you better find out. I have great respect for Millie Jackson. Not only is she a dynamite performer, but she's one of those few artists who's like really in control of her career. She owns pretty much everything she does. I think she like writes and produces, and she's held it together for many, many years. the album Get It Out Your System. That's the front. And look at the back. Millie has been described as dirty. I have no problem with that. And I don't know this album. What kind of song titles we got out there? We got Get Out and Get Some. Get Out Your System. Keep the Home Fire Burning. Hugs and Things. Put Something Down on It. I mean, those song titles alone are evocative. Oh, boy. And it's on her label, Spring Records. And, of course, my dollar store cheaters can't tell me who produced. Okay, here's another trademark of quality. This is really interesting. There it is, on her own label, Spring. Produced by Brad Shapiro. Kyle says, the way I said vinyl cracked him up. You know what? I've got friends from Belgium, and that's the way they say it. And I've simply maintained the Belgian pronunciation of vinyl. Produced by Brad Shapiro. I've talked about Brad Shapiro before. Brad Shapiro, I'm going to say, was pretty much single-handedly the man who invented disco. Now, some of you might cringe or groan or moan about that, but I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it as long as it needs to be said. I am a disco man. I love disco. Love it. Even some of the cheesy latter-day cash-ins. I love the Beach Boys version of Here Comes the Night. All 12 minutes of it. I loved Barry Manilow, Copacabana. I still do. I love the Village People. I love the funkier underground disco. I love the Bee Gees. I love it all. I don't care. Disco does not suck. And Brad Shapiro did a song on a Wilson Pickett album from 1972. He did co-write it with Wilson Pickett. So Wilson Pickett probably has to get co-credit for inventing disco. But this one song from 1972 is disco. It's pure, unadulterated, unarguable disco. At least 2 years before the genre became popular. And, once again, I don't remember the name of the album. It's a 1972 Wilson Pickett album with Brad Shapiro. So Brad Shapiro working with Millie Jackson right off the bat spells excitement to me. So this is going to go on the turntable sooner than later. The only time that Brad Shapiro struck out, in my opinion, was when he worked with James Brown. I guess Brother James wanted to be a disco star, and it didn't really work. James Brown was too rough, too rugged, too raw to be disco. So it just didn't really work. Otherwise, Brad Shapiro, Wilson Pickett, Millie Jackson, I'm in it. I'm on it. I'm going to put something down on it. That was just the first album. What do we got here? Okay, here we have Anselmo. And the notation on the protective sleeve says, if you can read that, quote, strange, unquote, crooner. He does look a little bit like a strange crooner. He seems like he's extremely enthusiastic, very earnest. And there's 3 of them on the back cover. Yes, 3 Anselmos. Interesting. Well, he does MacArthur Park. I mean, that's pretty much all you need to know right there. A full 4.5-minute version of MacArthur Park. Love Me For What I Am, Rocking Horse, Gene, What Is a Man, and it's on Golden Boy Records. Okay, I'm intrigued. Private pressing of some sort. And we all know that a lot of times these private pressing crooners come up with some very interesting stuff. Am I willing to find out? Yes, I am willing to find out. Anselmo. Not Phil, just Anselmo. That's all you get is one Anselmo. It says right here that Anselmo is a man born to sing. He is a sensitive artist, lyricist, and composer. We'll find out. All right, the sensitive Anselmo goes into the play pile. What do we got next here? Oh, now here's a band that we know. We know No Matrix. Yes, indeedy do. This is some really rabid shiz right here. I'm pretty sure we've shared the stage with No Matrix at one time or another. I'm going to assume this is a brand new record by them, which is very exciting. Because I've got some other things by them that Dennis has sent me, and they totally shred. Excellent new wave infused and inspired graphics on the labels. Look at that. Nice yellow vinyl. And a large selection of pissed off song titles such as Hate It, Monotone Madmen, Shite Talk, School Race, There Is No Utopia, Like and Follow, etc., etc. So yeah, No Matrix. I know this is going to make me happy, but I got to wait till I'm in a real, more of like a adrenalized state. I got to get my goosebumps going. I'll play this probably early in the morning before breakfast. Yeah, No Matrix. Rock, rock, rock. All right, what else have we got here? Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. This is one of those bands that if people don't know, they should know. Now I'm here to help you, if you didn't already know, Shocking Blue. Anybody out there know Shocking Blue already? From Sweden, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure they were Swedish. Of course, everybody knows the hit, I'm your Venus, I'm your fire, so desire. That song was all over the radio when I was a kid on WQAM. But they got a lot of other good stuff. Actually, right there, side 1, track 2, Hot Sand, great tune. Demon Lover, another great song. Bunch I don't know here, but for some reason, their original song entitled Love Buzz is not on this album. Maybe if this had come out a few years after Nirvana sold 1 trillion copies of their version of Love Buzz, it would have been on here. What's the date on this one? Atco Records. Or I should say 21 Records, a subsidiary of Atco. What's the year on that? 80-something or other. Pre-Nirvana. The Netherlands. Thank you, Per. Per from Sweden would know that these guys are not from Sweden. They are from the Netherlands. James Pogo's chiming in. Yep, Send Me a Postcard. Another great tune, which is on this album. And, of course, Love Buzz, which is not on this album. When I had my brick-and-mortar record store, Trash American style, I took great joy in putting on the original version of Love Buzz by Shocking Blue when Nirvana fans were in the house, just to watch them react. They'd quite often say, wow, who's covering Nirvana? They don't do it too good. I'd have to tell them, you're hearing the original, you wacky kids. Yes, Shocking Blue classics. No doubt all classics. All right, this thrift shop in a box is really rocking and rolling. Oh, God, here's one. All right, this falls under a number of categories. First of all, it's the Harmonica Rascals. I guess for a while, harmonica records were extremely popular, but not only is this a harmonica record, it is a cheap knockoff harmonica record on the all-time classic Design label, which I believe was a subsidiary of Pickwick. So here you've got a cheap knockoff of Johnny Palaio's Harmonica Gang, the Harmonica Rascals. I don't know. The problem with this is that I'm going to have to listen to it, because this could be very bad. This could be a very badly performed harmonica record. And I am all about badly performed. Any kind of record, really. It's got signatures all over it. Is it conceivable? It's utterly inconceivable. Is it even remotely conceivable that the Harmonica Rascals, who were most likely just thrown together for one session, might have signed this record? concept boggles the mind. Yeah, there it is, design. Pickwick, yes, Pickwick subsidiary for sure. The label that has graced and disgraced any number of sleazy, cheesy, exploito cash-in records. This bodes well. This bodes very well for some uneasy listening. And we got a few more here. What else could be in here? Okay, this is interesting. The Meadowlark Keyboard Sampler 1987. Right off the bat, this looks like a record I'm going to really despise. This looks very new agey. It's got songs, oh, Breathe on Me, Breath of God. Where Dreams Are Born. Night Seasons. Night Seasons, of course, being one word. Night Seasons. The Lake Song. Yeah, for a second I got excited. It says executive producer Peter York. I thought it said Peter Tork. Did not say Peter Tork. It said Peter York. It's on Meadowlark Records. I think it's one of those records that's going to last about 4 seconds if I do put it on at all. It's music for my personal retreat. I might just have to retreat entirely from this one. Old Dennis has to jerk my chain, apparently. Yeah, we got 4 more. Here's one of 4. This is very funny. This is very funny. My old pal Sean Oldham from Brookfield, Connecticut, had a band called Wayne King. And I didn't get it. I didn't understand why he would name a band Wayne King. I said, Sean, what's up with the name? Why is it called Wayne King? And he just said, oh, I don't know, just because. Looking at me like I was missing something. Wayne King. Say it fast, say it to yourself, and you will get the joke that took me decades to finally get. And when I got it, I'll admit I chuckled a little bit. Wayne King. Oh, yes. There it is, Wayne King. Wayne King in hi-fi, no less. Yes, Wayne King in hi-fi. Judging by the numbers of laugh faces and thumbs up and smiley faces, apparently a lot of you guys got it far sooner than I ever did. Wayne King in hi-fi. Oh, geez. Well, we knew this was going to happen. Great. Thanks, Dennis. Thank you, Dennis. This is a mono copy. Chris Michael says that Wayne King's brother must be Joe. Must be. Speaking of Joe King and Wayne King, well, we've got whipped cream and other delights. I'm sure there was probably a lot of Wayne King going on with people staring at this cover back in the early 1960s. Oh, look at that. It's another label variant. This one actually says mono on it. I've got a few mono copies of this. I got probably a few dozen mono copies of this. And this is a label variant I don't think I've ever seen before. So yes, this will have to go in with my extensive collection of whipped cream and other delights albums. I'm up to close to 300 of these right now. And this might actually top off the 300 mark, thanks to Dennis Highland. Thank you. And I think I've mentioned before that I've had this project working for a long time called Unwanted Music. And the idea that I had, I don't know if I've ever talked about this before. I don't think I have. Not in public, not on Tent Talks Tunes. But I've had this long-standing idea for an art project involving whipped cream and other delights. Maybe I'll talk about it later. If anybody wants to hear the story of my art project idea for whipped cream and other delights, give me a thumbs up, or an okay, or an angry face, or something. Because if you really want to hear about it, I'll tell you about it. I'll put that to the bottom for later, just in case. Well, there's a bunch of thumbs ups. All right, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. And some smiley faces, and a lot of thumbs up, one smiley, No angry faces, but that's okay. I will simply take that as a vote of confidence that you guys do want to hear about my art project relating to whipped cream and other delights. Oh, well, you know, guess what? We were just talking about Wayne King. And if you're going to talk about Wayne King, you might as well talk about the big pipe organ. Yes, there it is. The big pipe organ. You know, we try to keep a high tone here on Tent Talks Tunes. But when you guys send me records by Wayne King and the playing of the big pipe organ, things just kind of go right down the boozer into downright lasciviousness. Okay, Wayne King and the big pipe organ. And look at that guy. Wow, looks like he's really having the time of his life playing that thing. Gee whiz. He is just all a Twitter. He is just losing his shiz, man. Wow. That is intensity defined. John Kiley. And this is on Spinorama, another one of the great super cheeseball, sleazeball record companies of the early 60s, which means I probably have to give this one a listen too. This could be really bad. Yep. The big pipe organ. Yeah. Yeah, volume 2, no less, as Chris Michael pointed out. Yeah. Craig Gilbert says, a whole show dedicated to whipped cream and all the variants. Believe it or not, sir, I've done it. There is, if you go onto my YouTube channel, there is an episode of Tent Talks Tunes devoted to the various variants of whipped cream and other delights. Yes, I'm out of my mind. You can join me and be out of your mind by looking it up on the internet, or maybe I'll post a link to it as well if I remember to do so. Yes, an entire episode of Tent Talks Tunes devoted to whipped cream and other delights. So after all that, you got to wonder, I'm down to the last record in the box. What could possibly be the last record in the thrift shop in a box? What lies at the bottom of the barrel? What could it possibly be? Well, let's find out. You can see it's in there. We're going to open the flap. Oh, look at this. Now that... thrift shop in a box. So what do you think about these guys, huh? I've heard of them. They had some songs on the radio. Apparently they walked across the street on Abbey Road before anybody else did. Many have since then. A very interesting British pressing of Abbey Road. Ooh, I love that deluxe inner sleeve with the plastic lining. And I'll tell you guys, there's something about British pressed vinyl and European pressed vinyl that just is very satisfying. It's got a sort of heft to it and a sort of sheen to it. They've basically always been this way. Like even before there was 180 gram vinyl, UK and European pressings and Japanese pressings always tended to be of a generally higher quality than US pressings, and always a slightly different graphic sensibility to them, you know? This is just really cool. So, I might play this one just to see what it sounds like. A UK latter-day pressing of Abbey Road. Probably going to sound pretty damn good. Right on, Dennis. Thank you for the thrift shop in a box. Thank you for helping us traverse the not very long distance between absurd and sublime. Boom, boom. Toss that down there gently. Cool, got a lot of good listening coming up. Yeah. All right. So I got a few minutes, so I might as well talk to you guys about my art project idea for whipped cream and other delights. I put the word out a few years ago that I wanted every copy I could possibly get of this album. And the reason for that being, and I'm sure you guys know this, but if any of you are habitués of thrift shops, flea markets, yard sales, etc., it is practically guaranteed that you're going to find one or two or three of these along with Vaughn Meader's First Family album and various JFK tribute records. You are guaranteed to find this. Of course, the caveat being, except for when you're actually looking for it. If you actually want one, you're not going to find it. We already know that. We already know that. But let's just say you're not looking for it. You're going to find plenty. So I put the word out to my fellow record dealers that I wanted to get as many of these as I possibly could, but I didn't want to pay for them. And 201, they said, brother, we're going to hook you up. And before long, the whipped creams just started pouring in to where I now have probably close to 300 of them. And the beauty is I've paid for very few of them. For a while, I would pick them up at the thrift shops if they were $1 or less. But soon the boxes just kept getting fuller and fuller. And I said, why am I even paying $1 each for these things? Mind you, I have sold a couple of these like really nice specimens with really good clean covers and super clean vinyl. You know, they will sell. And the people who buy them are generally really happy when they get them. Because, you know, finding these things is easy. Finding them in really nice condition or really nice frameable condition is something else entirely. So I'm not denigrating the record itself. What I'm talking about is just how easy it is to get as many as you possibly want. So the idea is unwanted records on tour. Imagine this, if you will. A living room, you know, sofa, coffee table, a rug, record player with a couple of speakers, and copies of this album all over the place. Just strewn all over the floor, on the table, spilling out of bookcases, on the walls, just whipped creams everywhere. While the soundtrack of what is ostensibly playing out of the record player is the sound of, and I think I'm up to 32 now, 32 copies, 32 vinyl copies of whipped cream playing simultaneously. I gotta tell you guys, it's a sound that you've never heard before. It is an overwhelming tidal wave of sound. And the way that I put the collage together was I took 32 copies of whipped cream, recorded each one individually, side one, side one, copy two. You know, I went through a stack of these things and recorded each one. And using digital audio editing software, I was able to microscopically start each file at basically the exact same spot. When you're looking at audio files, you can see the exact moment when the track begins. So I would trim the track so that it started right there, identical for all 32. They all start precisely at the same spot, down to the microsecond. And then I adjust the levels so that they're nice and low, because the next step is to combine those 32 recordings into a single recording. So you hear the sound of 32 copies of whipped cream playing simultaneously, each one starting at the microscopically adjusted exact same spot. And you can only imagine, between entropy, drift, mechanical variations, that the resulting sound is not exactly completely in sync. And I'm not going to go any further than that, but only to say that you got to hear it to believe it. And Walt Wheat, my compadre in the almighty anti-scene, that's him right there, second from my left, third from your right. Walt says, why only 32? Well, Walt, I just ran out of sanity after a while. I just couldn't take anymore. I found myself getting cross-eyed and painless. I had a bad case of locomotive breath. I just couldn't do it anymore. I had to stop. I will no doubt pick up the mantle again, but not just yet. Hey, Libby Bentley, my old pal from Florida, is tuned in. She says, I remember when I was a kid being at my friend's house down the street, jumping on the bed together, listening to that album, you know? This is very good music to jump on a bed. And Libby says, when can we hear that? You know, Libby, it's one of about 4 million things I'm working on that I've been working on for a long time. And it's going to come to fruition now that I'm settled in North Carolina and the move is done and I actually know where all 300 copies of Whipped Cream are and I can get my hands on them. All I got to do is find an art space that will host it. And I'll be good. And of course, there will be a soundtrack CD available on TPOS. Because that's how I roll. That's how I roll. Oh, yes. Bob Eaton described Whipped Cream as a ready whip hit. Absolutely. So there you go. Thank you, Dennis, from Jackhammer Music, down there in Mobile, Alabama, guitar player of Future Hate, who will be playing at the Rule Breakers Ball in September. Thank you for the Thrift Shop in a Box. That was a lot of fun. I think I enjoyed it. Everybody out there enjoyed it. We all had good pleasure checking out the Thrift Shop in a Box. So thank you, Dennis. Much obliged. And we got some things in there that I am definitely going to listen to, and at least one that I'm pretty much guaranteed that I will never darken my turntable with. Just saying. Just saying. 14 out of 15 ain't bad. So, yeah. That just about wraps me up for this week's episode of Tent Talks Tunes. My calendar is, for the first time in a long time, pretty much not jam-packed with activities. So I do believe that I'll be back in about 167 hours' time. So until we meet again, this is Malcolm Tent saying so long from the Tar Heel State.